Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up in our news tonight, police vow to crack down on people attempting to use fake COVID-19 tests for travel. The leader of the opposition says more education is needed to resolve vaccine hesitancy here in the country. Local human rights activists weigh in on the government's decision to move forward with Shantytown demolition despite heavy criticism. Plus, a former MP weighs in, saying it's a little too late for the government to purchase the Grand Bahama Airport. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Georgia Bain. Topping news tonight. More than 24 people have been caught allegedly trying to use fake COVID-19 tests to travel. That's according to head of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit, Chief Superintendent Zhivargo Dames, who says it now appears that the disturbing trend is happening less frequently. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
The COVID-19 Enforcement Unit Chief says ambassadors are remaining on high alert at ports across the country. As more people are choosing to travel, he says some are deliberately trying to beat the system.
We have, as I've mentioned, a number of persons who would have tried, some over 50 plus persons who would have tried to go through the airports with a fake fraudulent test, COVID-19 test. Over the last couple of weeks though, days in particular, we have seen a decrease in persons who are presenting themselves to the airport with fraudulent tests. And so I think the message is getting out there. And so we want to say to the traveling public, please continue to do your best.
Police have said that over the last few months, there has been a proliferation of fake negative RT-PCR test results. A recent negative test result is required for travel for those who have not been fully vaccinated. Since March 2021, police have intercepted multiple fraudulent tests at Lyndon Pinling International Airport. Chief Superintendent Dames says travel protocols are there for a reason.
You can imagine if those 50 persons, possibly positive, got through to one of those islands that are in the first schedule, and if they are positive, can potentially spread the COVID-19 virus to those persons or those islands in the first schedule.
In March and April, several people were charged before the courts for allegedly trying to travel using fake COVID tests. Last month, Chief Magistrate Joanne Ferguson Pratt even urged police to bring masterminds making fake COVID documents before the courts. Ferguson Pratt said the Bahamas is being compromised by the use of fake COVID-19 tests and called the actions unacceptable. Meantime, Dames says COVID officers stationed at airports will remain vigilant.
If you intend to travel very soon, you must ensure that you have your COVID-19 test and also your travel health visa. We want to stress again that you are to obtain your travel health visa from a certified lab. So once you present yourself to the airport, you would then be checked by an ambassador to see if your health visa is actually legit and also if your COVID-19 test is legit. And so if we find that your COVID-19 test is fraudulent, the lab in which you would have obtained that travel visa from, that COVID-19 test from, that lab will be contacted. And if they were to say to us that your test is fraudulent, we want to say to you that you will be arrested.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Leader of the opposition, Philip Davis, says his COVID-19 vaccination strategy would have been to put education at the forefront. He made the comments as vaccine hesitancy remains relatively high in the country.
First strategy would be to ensure to educate our people as to the need for them to be vaccinated and let them know that there was a race between the race, but put another way, to defeat this enemy we call the virus, right, is a race between vaccinating our people and stopping the spread at the same time.
Earlier this week, an additional 33,000 AstraZeneca doses arrived in the country. All Bahamians over the age of 18 are now eligible to take the vaccine. Davis suggested that people who don't get vaccinated will face obstacles.
Friction is going to cause all of us to get to the stage of having to be vaccinated. No. Because when you cannot travel, if airlines say to you to come on an aircraft to go to the United States or anywhere else you need to be vaccinated, what you going to do? To get on a vessel, to travel by sea, they said, well, you need a vaccination to get there. If in a workplace. If a business decides that for you to be employed by me, you have to be vaccinated, what are you going to do?
And a local human rights activist is slamming the government's decision to continue demolition of shantytowns in Abaco and now planned demolitions for New Providence. Vice President of Human Rights Bahamas, Stephanie Sinfleur, says it's a heartless move on the part of the government, as many residents are now Hurricane Dorian survivors and are just trying to make it.
My thoughts on all of this is it's heartless and it's insensitive. If we look at Abaco, the majority of the victims over there are Hurricane Dorian's victim. And the government had a chance to look for a solution instead of trying to create a problem within a problem, which is homelessness.
Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell says those displaced residents who were living in the farm Shantytown in Abaco, which has been demolished, should feel free to apply to the Department of Social Services for assistance. However, St. Fleur says it seems as though the government didn't think this through.
After these people came through the devastation of Dorian, the first thing the government should have done, say, okay, you know something, we already have a home issue in Abaco. Okay, that's a big issue we have here, people being able to find homes. We find that the majority are working, but they have no place to stay. So they can either say, okay, let's look at Abaco residents first, instead of, like, say, granting Nassovians and other islanders, say, Crown land and Abaco to farm. So they can go to the list that they have and deal with, let's say, the hurricane victims, the Bahamians, grant them Crown land for those who want to farm.
She says the truth is many people living in these shanty towns are Bahamians. She called on the government to come up with a better solution.
You have women, we found women, children, we found people who are disabled, we have elderly living on the farm. You're demolishing their homes. What's the solution?
Also to come with our news, a former Grand Bahama MP says the government's decision to purchase the Grand Bahama Airport is a little too late. Plus, the Hands for Hunger team eyes new partnerships with local farmers. But first, we take a look at the challenges the students of the School of the Blind are facing. That's coming up when our news returns.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer. I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., right here on RTV.
Journey TV.
Journey TV.
We share
life's truths.
You're watching our news. Welcome back. Former Tourism Minister Obi Wilchcombe says the government's purchase of Grand Bahama's airport comes a little too late, and it seems to be lacking overall vision. Berthany McDermott reports.
While he supports government's decision to purchase Grand Bahama International Airport, which was ravaged by Hurricane Dorian in 2019, former Tourism Minister Obi Wilchcombe is questioning how long it took to get to this point.
I think, though, that it should have been done as opposed to making a good look. Good photo op. I think there ought to have been a plan of action that should have been initiated a while back now, because when is it going to be ready? We're talking 2-3 years out. Okay, if we're talking 2-3 years out, then what is the overall tourism plan? What is the overall trade plan? What is the overall plan for growth and development of the island?
On April 29th, government wrapped up the purchase of the Grand Bahama International Airport. The plan is to redevelop the airport and issue a request for proposal within 90 days in order to finalize a public-private partnership to develop and manage the airport. However, Wilchcombe said there appears to be no overall plan for the island.
You're just saying we're buying an airport, we're buying a hotel. What is a plan, though? How does it all fit together? Because that's what makes a difference, because then whatever we have to do today for that to be successful tomorrow should be done today. And we should start that, but a plan must be developed. And without the plan, it's hard to say what they're going to do, except we're going to build a new airport.
He stressed the importance of the government owning facilities that can boost economic development.
Because I think it's important for us to have and own the places that can cause for economic growth and development. I don't believe that we should be giving it away. I believe that we subject ourselves to the whims and fancies of others, and they wake up one morning and decide that we're not making any money, so they're gone.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, two Grand Bahama entrepreneurs are looking to expand their business thanks to a grant by World Central Kitchen. The international food donor is offering up to $20,000 to food producers in Abaco and Grand Bahama who are affected by Hurricane Dorian, as the company is moving from relief assistance to helping to build resilience. Tiffany Dennison lost one of her hydroponic systems in Dorian and is looking to build back the system and to expand her business using the grant.
The World Central Kitchen is a community building, entity on all levels. First of all, you need a hot plate of food, you get a hot plate of food, but then they go with resilience, and that's what, and like I said, I cannot even tell you the amount of support they give you throughout this entire process. And once this process is done at the end of the year, there's other incentives to do in other ways that they will continue to help, that I will definitely be involved in.
As for Cargill, he says his business is sustainably providing food security for Bahamians and believes his seafood is world class. The COVID-19 pandemic hindered recovery, but since restarting, they've seen a 30% jump in business.
Going through the issues of recovery from Dorian, we lost 90% of our equipment, except the vessel that took damage as well. Then we tried to recover, then the COVID dropped, and the issue, I use the word drop because it dropped your cash flow immediately. And we were stuck in a position, we were trying to recover and rebuild from the previous storm. And the problem is when your cash flow dries up, you can't grow anymore, nor can you acquire the funds to support your business and get back into the position you once was. So the grant from the World Central Kitchen was a blessing. They came in on time, they assist me with the education, they gave us proper training, the networking, learning new skills.
When our news comes back from the break, a local food rescuing organization aims to bring healthier options to the table. Plus, our Marcellus Hall has all this week's sports highlights in your Sunday sports special. We have the details when our news returns.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer. I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., right here on RTV.
Journey TV.
Journey TV.
We share
life's truths.
Life has surely changed for the 15 students of the Salvation Army School for the Blind who have found themselves having to adapt to virtual learning despite their disabilities.
School for the Blind is still operating as basically the same as other schools. What's happened, of course, we went virtual for a while, and then we've come back into the classroom, and right now I think we're doing a combination of in-class, in-person, and online learning. So we're finding our way through.
The students range from ages 4 to 20, but according to Salvation Army Divisional Commander Major Clarence Ingram, advancements in technology have made the transition a little easier.
Of course, it's more difficult for our students because of the challenges that they have. So they have laptops at home that speak rather than you can just read the screen. It speaks to them and things like that. And the teachers work with them virtually as well. So they're making their way through, but it is certainly a bigger challenge for our students.
As for the teachers, some of whom are also blind, Ingram says they're doing their best to adapt to frequent changes.
Well, they're trying their best as the circumstances arise. They're provided, of course, with the PPE and the different things that they need. And as the circumstances arise, they respond to it, whether, some days it's classroom, some days it's virtual, and it's a challenge, but they're doing their best.
Well, the Hands for Hunger team is looking to partner with local farmers to expand food choices at the organization's newly opened pantry. The pantry, which was opened on Wednesday, already has a range of vegetables and dietary staples. But Executive Director Keisha Ellis says the goal is to have a variety of options to fit a variety of dietary needs.
It was kind of difficult for us to see past the horizon of COVID. And I think that like so many people were now realizing that, okay, this is our reality. And so we're really trying to see, okay, what is our operation going to look like with, COVID remaining a factor in, just society. So we're very excited about this pantry. And honestly, for the next few months, our aim is to see this expand. We want to see this really be able to serve as many people as possible in a way that's efficient and smart. And so we're really excited about that.
Ellis says many organizations have been criticized for not providing fresh fruits and organic food options, but this has now led Hands for Hunger to seek partnerships with local farmers to provide more options to those who use the pantry.
One of our visions for this place is being able to now source fruits and vegetables from farmers. Before, when our operation was really mainly food rescue, it was a matter of, getting items when they became surplus. But now that we have such a wonderful storage facility, we have a place to display things, we have refrigeration, now we can seek items. We don't have to wait for things to become surplus. We can now build relationships with farmers like we've always wanted to do.
With major hotels not back to full capacity due to COVID-19, food rescuing has been down, but you can help. Ellis tells us how.
We absolutely love getting donations in kind of canned food items, of food to put on the shelf. We love that. But if you are able, we like to ask people to donate money to us because that way we can use that cash and leverage relationships. You know what I mean? The $20 that you're able to spend in the food store to get us goods will go a long way. But if you give us that $20, we can kind of use that and turn it into $40, sometimes $50 with the amount that we're able to buy.
When our news comes back from the break, in case you missed it, we take a look at this week's most memorable quotes. That's coming up after the break.
We have programs and commercial in Spanish.
Unfortunately, the Bahamas and the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean is lumped in with Latin America, and the giant U.S. networks send us Latin American feed into this region.
Oh, so that's what the message means on YouTube and Netflix.
Exactly. Restrictions on regional rights impacts all content providers for Cable Bahamas and our regional partners. The fight is about getting English-speaking content into the Caribbean, which we've been very successful doing with HBO, as well as ESPN Caribbean.
You're watching our news. Thanks for staying with us. Now here is Marcellus Hall with your Sunday Sports Special.
Welcome to your Sunday Sports Check, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Tell you what, Jonquel Jones is back to work as the WNBA season has resumed. Jones playing with the Connecticut Sun yesterday, starting off the year with a bang. 26 points on 10 of 15 shooting, along with 8 rebounds. More importantly, Sun kick off the season with a win, 78-67 over the Atlanta Dream. Jones right now staking her claim as one of the best players in that league. On to some other news now as Jazz Chisholm continues his rehab stint with the Jacksonville squad, the Marlins AAA team. And yesterday serving notice again that he's ready to get back on the field with the big league squad. Jazz going deep and gone to center field and looking really, really strong. He's already stolen a couple of bases, has a number of hits, and now the home run, the trifecta, if you will, looking pretty solid as he gets ready to make his return to the Marlins starting rotation. And that's your check on sports for you here on this Sunday. I'm Marcellus Hall.
Now it's time to take a look at the quote of the week. This first quote comes from Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister, who sought to defend Shantytown demolitions amid criticism from United Nations human rights experts.
It has come to a point where we have to decide whether we're going to have a society like the Bahamas or we're going to have a society like Haiti. And any of you have been to Haiti, you'll see what happens there. Dirt, garbage, shanty houses all over the place. If those folks want to make a statement about the Bahamas, then we could, I think as a country, as we are deporting people, if they want them to come to their neighborhood and put a shantytown in their neighborhood, that's what you should ask them. How would they feel if in their neighborhood there's a shantytown with feces going in the groundwater?
This quote comes from the singing bishop, who gave thanks this week as his feeding program was officially registered by the Department of Social Services.
He was the one that pushed and pushed check. We took that $5,000 check and we registered the foundation. And the day the papers are here that this is a registered feeding foundation.
And this final quote comes from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis as he defended his government's performance 4 years into his administration's term.
We could have concentrated only on the catastrophic problems that we face, but then what happens? Your country stagnates, it don't move. We had to run 2 parallel tracks and move the 2 parallel tracks, ensure that we deal with the catastrophic problem, ensure that we dealt with the growth, development, and expansion of the country. It was impossible to deal with all of what we promised within that 1 year, but be assured that all will be done. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for joining us for our News Weekend edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Georgie O'Bain, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful night, Bahamas. On the Record with Jerome Sawyer starts now.